In our news bulletin for this evening, government places Ebola preparedness as high priority with the establishment of the Ebola Emergency Response Committee and discussions and training held this week. The new Public Service Commission announces the appointment of the directors for 3 senior positions within the Ministry of Infrastructure. Petrol shortage on Tuesday leaves customers frustrated. A project to photograph and illustrate people on the island started this week. Niue's health and border control agencies are stepping up their response plans to ensure the island is prepared to deal with any potential risks posed by the Ebola epidemic. According to the Secretary of Government, Richard Hipper, the government has placed Ebola preparedness as a high priority, and 2 specialists contracted by the county's Manukau District Health Board arrived on Tuesday to assist health and key agencies on the island to develop plans on how to respond accordingly. The latest outbreaks in Africa have raised alarms across the globe for countries to prepare for any potential spread of the disease. 2 specialists are on the island, and they've been able to help the island to be better prepared and also inform people of what they need to be aware of.
I think that people should be aware that Ebola virus is a very low risk for Niue. The likelihood of somebody coming even to New Zealand with Ebola virus is very small. So the likelihood of somebody coming from West Africa to New Zealand and then on to Niue is very, very small. And I think it's very important that we prepare just in case there is a case in Niue. But even more important, I think that this Ebola task force and the procedures we are developing are important for protecting Niue against other infections. It's part of our plan to protect the people of Niue against dengue and Zika virus and tuberculosis and measles and other diseases in the future. The plans that we develop for Ebola will be helpful in the future for other diseases.
The Ebola virus is a disease spread by direct contact with blood or other body fluids of an infected person that has a high risk of causing death. Hospital staff have been in training for the use of protective equipment and to develop a hospital response plan if people get sick with Ebola. Dr. Richard Everett is an infectious disease specialist and Barbara Gibson is an infection prevention and control nurse. According to these 2 specialists, the most infectious diseases can be prevented. Yesterday, the new Ebola Emergency Response Committee held a meeting to discuss plans or prevention measures.
What to ask people at the airport when they arrive, how to deal with somebody who we think might be sick or who's come from Africa where the Ebola outbreak is, where at the airport we can move them that's away from other passengers, how to transport them safely, and here at the hospital we've been discussing which room to use for those Ebola patients. For example, the hospital has got an isolation room and an intensive care room, and we want to make sure that those rooms are safe and well designed. We're going to be organising equipment for the staff to wear, like hats and visors or masks, so that they don't get infected. The staff are also going to wear a waterproof gown and shoes and gloves so that they don't pick up the infection through their skin. We talked a little bit about how likely it is that an outbreak would happen, and I don't think that it is likely for there to be an outbreak. I think Niue is very well prepared, and it's a relatively safe place for the population, And that is because you don't have a big population and people are spread out. So if there was an outbreak in one part of the island, you could quarantine those people. You could limit the outbreak of the disease to that area. You could close the roads. Also, because the population is low, you don't have a lot of people in a small space where infection is spreading. And you have a very good public health team. Look at what to do with all the linen and the waste from looking after an Ebola patient. And today we're talking about what to do if somebody dies in Niue from Ebola infection, how to handle the body so nobody gets infected from the body.
Dr. Everts says that Niue's strong links with New Zealand is beneficial because New Zealand has a wide range of infectious disease specialists who can help Niue organise and give the right treatment as well as supplies. Any people travelling or returning from overseas are encouraged to go to the hospital if they feel sick or have any symptoms like high temperature, coughing, aching muscles to prevent the spread of any harmful infectious diseases. The Ebola Emergency Response Committee have some important decisions to make. They also have procedures to develop well-organized plans to ensure the safety of people in Niue from any potential risk or threat of Ebola. This newly established committee are working under the Niue National Disaster Council. The Niue Public Service Commission has announced the official appointments for 3 senior executive positions within the Ministry of Infrastructure. The 3 departments under the ministry are the Department of Transport, Department of Utilities and Department of Communications. The 3 directors for these departments are the Director for Transport is Sonia Talangi. The Director for Utilities is Dave Talangi. And the 3rd position, the Director for Communications, will be Tutuli Heka. The 3 successful appointees will be working on a contract basis for the next 2 years, and the Commission wishes them well in their respective appointments and the challenges they face ahead. Some motorists expressed their disappointment and frustration with the apparent shortage of petrol on Tuesday. Sources say that Central Services, the only fuel station on the island, had run out of petrol from 10 in the morning. For some customers running low on fuel, travelling from the outer villages, only to find out that there was no petrol. They say it was time and fuel wasted, with no indication or notice when they could expect to fill up. Inquiries to identify what the problem was revealed that the bulk fuel division, who supply the fuel, were unable to move the tank containers from the fuel depot to the fuel station. According to the manager of bulk fuel, the heavy machinery from Public Works was unavailable at the time. A representative from outside services said that the machinery was busy with work down at the wharf and they were unaware of the request. However, by the late afternoon, they did have staff on hand to bring the tank containers from Amano to the fuel station, enabling bulk fuel to fill up the petrol bowser. By Wednesday morning, the fuel station was able to serve its customers who could then fill up their cars, and customers and motorists who contacted us said they're hoping that this is an isolated incident and that in future they're better informed of any such occurrences, considering there is only one fuel station on the island. A project to photograph and illustrate the population of Niue is on a roll this week, starting at the schools. Alexa Shoa and Maka Makatoa are finally on the island to undertake this ambitious goal. Takai, a portrait of Niue, is a collaboration between the 2 artists from New Zealand to photograph and sketch as many people on the island as possible as the faces of Niue today. The project is a creative representation of Niue today that has changed a lot since the Millennium Project that was done in 2001 to 2002, but they say this is a very different approach.
We're not doing the Millennium Project. Ours is completely different. It is for the people of Niue, with a focus on Niue as opposed to sort of a marketing campaign, which is what the Millennium Project seemed to be. And adding the portraits into that as well gives it a real point of difference and makes it just that little bit more special. We have distributed consent forms through the primary school and some through the high school as well. It is really essential that we have those sent back for us to be able to do the sketches and the photographs as well. So if people could send their consent forms back with their kids, it would be really, really great. Otherwise we can't take the image.
The dynamic duo are on the island for 2 weeks and are optimistic that their goal can be achieved if people on the island are open to the idea. For Maka, who has Niuean heritage, this is something he has been considering for some time. And after being part of the Niue Arts Festival last year, where he also met Alexa, it was a natural collaboration.
I was going to draw some portraits anyway, but when I found that Alexa was kind of doing this project, I thought it might be good to kind of jump on her fame and tag along. I thought it might be a good combo, illustrations with photos, I don't know.
For the past few days, they have been at the schools taking photos and drawing pictures, even getting out into the community. They say they've taken a bit of time to find their feet, but they're now on a roll to complete this by the end of the month.
It's been interesting so far.
It's been a bit slow.
But it's really finding our feet and meeting with all the people we need to meet with. We've had some great meetings with Moira at Tonga Niue and various heads of departments and officials and things like that. So
I think we're just covering our bases. So
just covering our bases, doing it.
We're not going to, do things we're not supposed to be doing. Yeah. But
and
it's
tick all the boxes, eh?
Yeah, it's been a bit of a mish, but it's kind of out of the way now. So we're
momentum's gathering. Yeah, and people now that we're here and we're introducing ourselves to people, there's a lot more people aware of it now. And it'd be great to have everyone come along and introduce themselves to us and get the image taken and be a part of this. We got a phone. We did get a cell phone, 5456. If you want to give us a call to arrange a time to come down and get your picture taken. Otherwise, like I said, we'll be roaming around. We've got a wonderful car from Willie with our posters in the back. If you see that around, do come up and introduce yourself.
I'm going to be doing some beautiful, awesome cartoons, portraits. So if you really want them, come get them. Don't miss out.
Alexa, with her photography skills, is keen to take lots of photos and of family portraits where people can also book time or approach them while they're on the island. Maka, with his animation background, will be drawing cartoon illustrations of school children. The bigger picture and goal is to compile everything into a publication, but that is totally dependent on fundraising efforts to generate the necessary funds.
We've done crowdfunding campaigns through the New Zealand Arts Foundation website Boosted, and that's pretty much been one of our sole funders for getting here and doing this. We're running another campaign at the moment to try and fund a publication of doing this. If we don't raise enough money to actually publish something out of this, then we can't, and it will just be an exhibition that we bring back for the festival next year. We'd really, really love to make something that we can give to every household in Niue and make available to everyone, but that is dependent on how much we raise through the Boosted campaign. We will be trying Creative New Zealand in the new year and any other form of sponsorship and funding that we can find, but in a large part this is funded by us.
With week one almost over and still a lot to be done, the team are hoping to get as many images of people in Niue as possible, even encouraging people to contact them at the yacht club or on their mobile. And that ends our news bulletin for this evening.